about the form as the future science, the form of things. And by form, he doesn't mean just the noun, he means a verb, the forming of something. The form as a noun is the basis of what used to be called the doctrine of signatures. And the doctrine of signatures was, if it looks like a duck, it's a duck. So if a plant looks like a liver, it's good for your liver. And that has been discredited, as it should, because it's just about the outer form of something. But the forming process of a plant is a signature of its time body. The forming of a mineral is a signature in time of a kind of yearning process, a becoming process. The forming in embryological development of a particular organ is a becoming. How a bone comes out of solution is an image of something. How a snowflake forms is an image of a process. How a liver or a kidney functions is an image of a process of separation and combining. And those separations and combinings are the way in which forms in nature appear and disappear. They come into being in a particular pattern, and they go away in a particular pattern. And once you begin to understand that, ionic transfer and molecular ionic transfer ceases to be abstract, it becomes more pictorial. It becomes more of a way of thinking about how a particular substance contributes to a particular oil fraction in a plant, or how a plant grows in a particular niche because it makes a particular substance. And it forms a specific organ for that, like a ginger has an extra cambium that's not actually a cambium. It only appears to be a cambium and then creates an oil boundary, but it has a double what would normally be in a root. So it has an ultra oil gesture because it grows in tropical, humid, very prone to infection. It has a bulwark that it provides right from the get-go. So it only uses cambium as a kind of intermediary to create this secondary parenchyma that gets filled with oil automatically, and then suddenly it's down the road. It doesn't want to have a cambium that stays in existence because it'll be attacked where it grows. Yeah, for instance, and we could go on and on and on and on, and eventually as we go through the different phyla and families, we will. But by the time we get there, we have to understand that the plant is listening, and the mineral is listening, and the animal is listening to a field of form. And it's useful to understand the language of the field of form is the language of metaphor. Things become in a particular way And the sequence of the becoming is what I've called ABC. ABC. This happens, then this happens, then this happens. And the three things that happen may change in your consciousness tomorrow into something else. But the fact that you formed them into something on a particular day is significant for the Akasha. And if you put that up there in the Akasha, you have in you a little laser, an Akasha laser, that Rudolf Steiner calls writing in the astral light. Writing in the astral light is the equivalent of reading in the astral light. That's the great secret. And unless you write in the astral light, you will never learn to read in the astral light. So you have to keep forming pictures in sequences that you give away in the evening in order to be able to call into your field of consciousness the elementary beings that stand behind the becoming of the thing you're researching. You need to create the resonance within the field of the nodal points that you wish to connect. That's your ABC. They may not be the actual field that the archetype is using to come into being, but if you put that up as a template, you will be corrected. Because you are writing in the astral light, you can be corrected to read more clearly in the astral light. But unless you're writing in the astral light, you can't read in the astral light. It just becomes solidified. We were just speaking about the astral incarnating, and the astral plane is manifesting in stuff today. We call it the blog sphere. I always say blog is a combination of two words, bull and fog. Bulla. And that will then create huge uncertainty as part of our mutual initiation. So to build an organ, I have to explore field properties. To build an organ of perception, I have to test my understanding of what a field is. So the exercise we're going to do is the triangleness of a field. So I'm going to do a little drawing here, a little geometric drawing. There's one on the board in the back. And then we'll do an exercise. So please just take a piece of paper, and then when we break to do the exercise, in the back there are scissors, and maybe we can do a fire drill. We'll have one person go back and get scissors for every two people, because you don't need to do them to use the scissors a lot. And the exercise is that I'm going to construct an archetype here, a geometric archetype. And in the past, geometry was used by mystery teachers to teach the ability to stay intact in a spiritual condition. Yeah, I will. So, the logic of geometry and the sequencing of geometry was used as an instruction device to help students have a part of their consciousness that could stay intact when they finally achieved a meditative state. Because in the meditative state, you have no thought and no thought, and no image, just pure thinking as a verb. Thinking as a spiritual activity. But there's no content to the thinking to create a thought. Without training, this could lead to deep insanity. Truly, truly. Deep uncertainty and a kind of existential anxiety. So to guard against that, there needed to be an organ in the consciousness developed so that when I entered the field consciousness of the astral realm, I carried with me an organ built on the rules of the astral world that would not be buffeted by uncertainty. So they use geometry, that is the law of the astral world, the way the astral configures itself in field properties of nodes and relationships, is a geometric field. So the plant is listening to that. The crystalline minerals are listening to that. The forming of an embryo is listening to that geometric field, the music of the spheres, the geometry of the spheres. And it's musical, it's harmonic. And the node points are the notes, and the spaces between is the actual music, the tension, the energy of the movement. So they use geometry to create, and then if Chartres, geometry, arithmetic, rhetoric, yada yada, to create an inner stability in the inner plane so that when I went into the astral realm and had no thought, I was still present. In meditation, with my field of consciousness that holds it together, I place that into a much larger field of potential. And if I'm unprepared, I fry a few circuits. So I need to prepare to be in that realm, and the best way is through geometry. So geometry teaches archetypes by making constructions. So I'm going to make a construction here of one of the archetypes of the mineral world. And as I go along, I'll just state why it is objective, and hopefully you'll see that. I start with a point, and around the point, I'm going to create a circle. Now, the circle is designated as a line, a curve, that is equidistant from the center. Every point in it is equidistant from the center.